Alexa, stop music. And here we are at Club Dub for an 18th episode of A Date with Destinee. And we'll have Destinee introduce herself. And, and then first I'll begin that Americanson of Americanson music. And since our last episode 17, quite a bit has happened. Quite a bit of time has passed. And we certainly appreciate your coming back to us after a little bit of an intermission while we reorganized various aspects of our respective lives that kind of go on without us sometimes. And since our last trip, yeah, we do trip sometimes here, but since since episode 17, I managed to get over to a little tour of Slovakia, Hungary, Poland, and so I might make some mention of that and even swung by Amsterdam on the way back for an Amsterdam good time. And also a couple other developments as Destinee had formally moved into another place, so that this is now her first time well, I guess for a while she was commuting to the show from where she spent most time, but now she's officially a guest here at Club Dub.
It's official.
Yes. Ow. And we got some horny bastards out in the neighborhood setting off horns. And so that's, yeah, so I might go out and have a talk with them if it keeps going. But we'll have Destinee kind of catch up on what she's been up to since our last episode, which was in July, right?
July?
I took my trip in August.
Oh my God. Yeah, July. Yeah. A lot has happened. I moved in with my boyfriend and
lucky bastard.
Yeah. I
don't mean you, I mean him.
I think my health has taken a steady decline since then. Not because of my boyfriend.
From a lack of bacon.
It's from the lack of bacon. Actually, it's probably too much bacon. Yeah, in about August or September, I started having these weird fainting spells where it started off where I was at Wesley's house and I was just playing video games in the morning and I just out of nowhere, my vision goes black, my eyes roll to the back of my head, I fall over, terrified out of my mind. I feel like it was only a second or two that I was out for. I get up, try and stand up, and again, fell over, got dizzy. The only thing that I had was maybe a sip of coffee. It was hot, I hadn't even drank it. And that had happened, and since then, September, November, and December, I had this where I'd get really dizzy. I would get, I'd pass out. I only actually passed out 3 times. The first time being the worst. Every other time it was just getting dizzy, falling over, not a complete blacking out. I went to go see my doctor, and she believes that it could be gallstones. She says that that's a rare side effect of gallstones, and to eliminate fats out of my diet. So from basically July until December, I was feeling sick all the time, incredibly lethargic, not able, I actually, we haven't even finished unpacking since moving because it's just I don't have the energy to do it. And then after I went to go see my doctor, I stopped eating fatty foods and I had a very strict diet for probably about maybe a month. It was really difficult. And I felt really healthy in the month of January. And then I went back to eating regular foods because I was like, oh my God, I'm healthy again. Let me just go back to eating my normal diet. And now I'm at a point where like every single time I eat food or I drink anything, I'm in pain. So basically, the past several months, like 6 months, have been really difficult. But like, I feel like I'm not trying to do like a pity party. Like, there's no pity party here. It's just been like I've been going through a lot of health issues, but other than that, everything's been great.
Fantastic. And that's also maybe one of the reasons that we're a little slow to get out our episode 18.
I also have a lot of other life changes that I'm like trying to focus on. I'm trying to focus on opening my own business, and I'm possibly gonna maybe soon. I'm not entirely sure. I might be taking another career change. So there's been that.
Yes, so we're going to discuss that later to make recommendations for or against. And but yeah, there's I also have personally had a couple developments. First, my health has been, I've been in good health, so I'm lucky in that regard, even in spite of being halfway to 117. And I've been maintaining my keto weight. So I kind of float up a little bit, but I've been taking some breaks from that. So I found a new restaurant that we have to do a shout out. It's a place called Della Torre in Pleasanton. It's right by Lucky's off Hop Yard at Las Positas. And it's like a mom and pop. Well, I think the owner had passed away, so now it's his wife runs it. So it's, I guess, a mom operation. But they had some famous people that would go there routinely, such as, what's the sports guy? The sports commentator.
Joe Rogan?
No. I'll come back to it. But anyway, they have this fantastic spaghetti and meatballs there. And so I started a new assignment, so I'm doing a day job because I haven't yet converted my efforts in the realm of music and podcast into complete coverage of various outlays. So I'm doing a little bit of a 9 to 5, and it's a wonderful job, good people, and my teammate had introduced me to this restaurant, so that was one of the first big benefits, is that I got to go to Della Torre and have the spaghetti and meatballs. And I'm like, well, I'm taking a day off keto. So I'd have all the bread, butter the hell out of it, to have all the friggin' meatballs and the noodles and everything. And then that might be the whole meal for the day. But I'm still doing the intermittent fasting. So I'll start with the cup of coffee with heavy cream in the morning. And then my first meal of the day is lunch, reliably. So when I have that, and then sometimes when I get that spaghetti and meatball, that is adequate to be darn near, if not the only meal of the day. So that's that's working out all right. And the travel plan in August, I did the tour of Slovakia, met my brother and sister-in-law over there. They came in through Vienna, then took a short bus over to Bratislava, and I came into Warsaw. And then I thought, okay, I can take the train down and that'll be neat, have a nice countryside train ride. And it's like, then I discovered when I was booking the travel that you got to get the train well in advance because these damn things are sold out, weeks ahead. So I took the stupid flip bus. And it's the bus is just, any bus is horrible generally. And this was consistent with that expectation. Got on there, rode from Warsaw to Krakow. And on that one, I had an empty seat next to me. So it's like, okay, so I can kind of spread out. But these things, the seats are like completely compressed. You have no way to even get your feet under the seat in front of you. So at 6'2" or what have you, with hair, I'd be 6'4". But anyway, at my height, there's just no place to put your legs. So it just kind of like, it's okay when you can go diagonally. And then we got to Krakow. So I went and had a wonderful dinner there. At first, I was almost just going to go into the mall that's next to the bus stop and the train station and all that. And then I thought, no, I want to try to find a nice restaurant. So I went outside and was going restaurant after restaurant, nice looking places, and they were all friggin' closing because I was there around 9 p.m. Finally, I found one that was exceptional, and I'll put a link in the comments. But anyway, they had little horse carriage rides out front, and there's outdoor dining. And I went inside this very quaint little restaurant, had a fantastic meal with a beer. Then I got on the next bus ride, and that's where it was just not fun, because that one was going from Krakow to Bratislava, and that was basically like supposed to be 7 hours, and I think it turned into 8 or 9. And the bus was cram-packed. And as soon as I got on the first bus, I had a ticket, and I'm like, oh, do I need the assigned seat? I'm supposed to be here. And the bus driver's like, doesn't matter, because it was half empty. This next one, it did matter. So I'm sitting in the wrong spot. Then I realized that, oh, my spot's over here. So some dude's sitting there. And I'm like, that's my seat. It's by the window. And he's like, no, man, you don't want the seat. Your legs are too long. You'll never be able to ride in this. So I'm like, you're trying to sell me out of my seat? I have the ticket for that seat. So I was very annoyed with this guy initially. But then as I'm sitting with the aisle, with my legs out in the aisle, I started to realize that the guy was right. I would have been in like absolute pain crammed into that seat.
Was he short?
Yeah. And he turned out, at first he just annoyed the hell out of me. And then I'm waiting for people to get off this bus. Every time we got to a stop, it's like 2 a.m, 3 a.m. So people get off, and I'm like, oh, finally we can breathe. And as many as got off got back on. It was like every single stop, whatever space was open was filled up immediately. And so just like horrible torture. But eventually, I started chatting with the guy in the last 20, 40 minutes of the trip, and he turned out to be a nice guy. He was like from Georgia. I think he was had a Muslim family. He was a Ukraine refugee. He started up a big business, and everything was booming, and everything was fine for him. And then the little war that the State Department was waging through, proxy war waged by the State Department to get to Russia, flared up and caused him to lose all his business and all that. So he was basically on his way out to meet a friend that basically was going to help him reestablish someplace. So ultimately met my brother, stayed at wonderful Airbnb kind of accommodations. Some were very quaint, and the exterior of the buildings, everything in Central Europe, the architecture was just grandiose, fantastic. So we did a couple nights in Bratislava, took the train to Kosice, which is kind of where my ancestral homelands of my mom's side of the family from a couple generations back, and had one of the best meals of our life there. It was at this place that has we had this steak that was one of the best steaks, according to both my brother and I, that we've ever had in our life, and we've had fancy dinners. And the entire bill was like $60 for 3 of us. So it was like a hell of a darn bargain, and it was just such, the environment, the dining environment, the quality of the food was all spectacular. And then we went on the train to head on to Hungary, Budapest. Now, Budapest, they call it the Paris of the East, and now since Paris is all in shambles, it's kind of like the only Paris. It is friggin' grandiose and spectacular. In every direction you look, it just friggin' piles of civilization that just just awe-inspiring. The architecture, everything there. Food was great. People are nice. Kids can play in parks at night. Everything's basically safe anywhere in Central Europe compared to the standards we've allowed ourselves to become accustomed to here. And so it was an extraordinary outing. I did a little bit of a video, which I can put a link in the show notes. But to do it justice, it's going to take some time. And now that I have the day job, that's going to slow things down a bit. So I'll ask you to bear with me. But there's like a little sneak peek that I'll toss into the show notes. And so I guess I talked myself off. I guess we should, I don't know if that sounds right. We'll go to break, and then we'll be right back on the 18th episode of A Date with Destinee. Boy, you take a little time off. And we're back in on A Date with Destinee. And we got to rehearse some of what we were going to say because of it's been a little while, so I'm a little rusty at the controls. So It's my hope you'll bear with us as we continue our journey together. Destinee was just reviewing a couple things that she had encountered with her experience with health, medicine, doctors, and had a few philosophical comments on that. So I'll let her take that from the top again. And then I might have a few things of my own to add.
How did I even get into it? What did I say?
Eating.
Oh yeah, because you were talking about like the pork and the bacon. I can't eat anything. Like I cannot eat. Well, before I say what I can't eat, I don't 100% know if it's gallstones or not. I've just seen my doctor once, and I've sent some messages back and forth, but she says she believes it's my gallbladder, or possibly my pancreas. It also hurts in my kidney, which could be troubling. But yeah, we're not 100% sure. I'm just basing all of my eating habits off of what we think it is, because obviously if I do nothing, I'll be in pain. But I cannot eat any fatty foods. I can't eat bread or grains. Like I'm not really supposed to eat like rice. And I mean, like I could probably have rice, but I can't have bread. Bread is like a bad culprit. So really what I should be eating is fruit, vegetables, and poultry or lean meat. And, like you can't really there's no fast food place. There's no restaurant that you can go to that just like has, at least not near here, like in the Bay Area, that has like what I need. Usually it's all cooked in seed oils. Seed oils, big no, absolute big no. If you're eating anything in canola oil or vegetable oil, definitely a big no. So sure, I could go to a restaurant and I've actually done this. I went to, what the heck is that place called? It's near Pacific Catch. It's like, I don't remember what it's called, but I ordered like rice and Brussels sprouts and like a beet salad. Every single thing that they had made was made in it was oil, basically like some sort of not like olive oil, like nasty vegetable oil. It was gross. But yeah, I can't really eat anything. And Eric was talking about how we used to offer up to put like bacon on the table while we would do the podcast, but we cannot do that any longer. And it's actually my fault for why I'm having these health issues at such a young age, because but it's my fault, but it's also, I feel like, the school system's fault. Like nobody ever taught me, these things are not okay to eat all of the time. And so when you're growing up and you're young, and I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for so long, I think I'll just order some food at work. And I ate a lot of fast food, and all of the food that I eat, and I eat a lot of bread. Like every day I will eat toast, bagels, English muffins, crackers, literally different forms of bread is like my entire diet. All of those things contribute to these issues.
That is unbelievable to have to go through that, especially at this tender young age.
Yeah.
And
it's all right.
Yeah, I've been and I was just about to do a shout out for the restaurant that I ordered some food tonight. And that's China Paradise was the original name, but they've renamed it to Mandarin Delight. I can't help but think about how either of those would be an excellent name for like a massage place. But ultimately, they have a very good salt and pepper pork, which I deem to be keto friendly, but I don't really know what the hell kind of oil they use, to be honest. But I've generally eaten that with some success, and I'm staying kind of on track with the goals associated with the keto. And, but she reminded me, actually, I should ask you, you had mentioned something about the importance of the quote-unquote unnecessary organs.
Oh, yeah. So in high school, we were all taught, at least I was taught, so I assume we were all taught that the gallbladder, the pancreas, your kidneys, well, one kidney. What else? Appendix. All of those things were unnecessary or extra organs that are not needed, and we've evolved to not need those organs. That is not true. Not true whatsoever. I personally believe that it is a psyop. I don't know why they would be teaching the population that those organs are not valuable or essential, because those organs control your hormones. Your hormones control how healthy you are. So if I were to take my gallbladder out, there is a 60% chance, I think that's the number, 60% chance that for the rest of my life, I will not be able to obtain nutrients through food properly. If I can't contain nutrients through what I'm eating properly, I will be malnourished. I will have health problems, health conditions. I could end up with depression. I could end up with, sorry if this is a TMI, worse period cramps. All of these things are controlled by your hormones, and all of those. I think we got into this on one episode, but like your endocrine system, the endocrine system is all of those organs that they don't teach you about in high school, unless things have changed since I've been in high school, but they're very important. You cannot get rid of your gallbladder. You cannot get rid of your pancreas or any of those organs. Every single organ in our body is essential and is there for a reason.
And this reminds me a little bit about, you were mentioning something about the order in which things are presented in health class in high school and how...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're remembering better than me. I went through health class when I was 14. I was a freshman in high school. I don't remember jack shit. Sorry for my French. I literally don't remember any of it. I can remember like flashes, glimpses. I remember something about my teacher talking about butter, but literally like it was so long ago that I can't remember. They should be teaching health class. Either there needs to be 2 years, one in freshman and one in senior, or they should just be teaching it in senior year. It should be taught in senior year. Your food and your nutrition, as you become older, when you're 17, 18, 19, that's when you start, most people start learning to cook for themselves. Most people start learning how to take care of themselves, how much exercise they should be doing. They actually go off and have jobs. So why would you teach all these kids who don't care about what I need to eat and what I need to cook for myself because I'm 14, mom and dad do that for me? Why would you teach that at that age when you can teach it at an age where it actually matters? Or even if you are going to teach it at 14, teach it again at 18. It's essential for kids to be learning these are foods that you should be avoiding because they cause this issue, this issue, this issue, and this issue. I swear, if I had someone who is wise, someone who I trusted, a teacher, teacher is someone you trust. Most kids go to their teachers and they trust their teachers. If I had a teacher at 18 who taught me, hey, you can't eat fried wings every day for 6 years because it's going to cause this. And yeah, I can understand why some people would be like, well, that's common sense. Well, it's not common sense because common sense is like something that you don't have to learn. Like you actually have to learn from through trial and error what's wrong to put in your body, especially when they don't give us so much information about foods. Like a lot of food at Buffalo Wild Wings, our wings are fried in beef tallow. Now, I'm not going to say beef tallow is good for you, but it is good for you in moderation. Absolutely zero seed oils. There should be no seed oils in our diets whatsoever. Since the 80s, obesity has been on the rise. Why is that? Because seed oils have been put in our food. In everything. It's in our cereals. It's in our, not our vegetables. It's in our, it is in our vegetables.
By the time you make a salad and put the dressing on, it is.
Yeah, it's in everything. It's in like all of your chips and your snacks and your granola bars. Like if you were to go to Safeway or Trader Joe's or Whole Foods and you look at everything that is boxed, nothing, fresh, I can guarantee you 99% of it has sunflower oil, canola oil, palm oil. I feel like I'm missing one. Doesn't matter. Some sort of oil.
The worst is the canola.
Canola is really bad.
Which is, canola is it's an ugly word, so it's almost appropriate. It's almost like truth in advertising, because it's like, do you want the canola oil? It's like, boy, that sounds real nourishing. It's actually rapeseed oil. Rapeseed's a toxic seed.
Are you serious? I didn't even know that.
But because they process the ever-living hell out of the oils, that the toxins are basically removed and replaced with others.
That's a lie.
So canola's in everything. Canola
Yes,
this, canola that. You go buy some blue cheese dressing. Whatever you buy, look for canola and then just put it right back on the shelf.
Look for all of those oils.
Yeah, any of those seed oils, there's
on the shelf.
are just extremely harmful, and they're inflammatory. So the number one health issue for America is heart disease. Mm-hmm. Well, it was until they had the new the new jab going on. But prior to the jabby jab, the worst thing you can do for your health.
Technically, that's still is counted as. I mean, nothing.
Prior to the absolute suicide shot, the worst thing you could do for your health is seed oils. And they switched in the 80s, they switched McDonald's and all these major fast food chains to go from that lard, the beef taro, to go to seed oil that they call vegetable oil. And that's all marketing nonsense too, because it's not from vegetables, but it sounds good to the
consumer,
to the washed brain of the masses. So it's like, oh, vegetable oil. Oh, that's much better. We don't have any animal fat. So,
it is so bad for you.
Now people take French fries and it turns immediately to breast cancer and all these things. They're inflammatory. They have high omega-6 and it gets worse. They basically anything with omega-6, including grain-fed beef. So people will say, oh, meat's bad for you. And they did this new chart, these lying government goons. This is government science for you, the same people that bring you the climate hoax. These goons will tell you that Lucky Charms are better for you than red meat.
Yeah, that's because the meat has vegetable oils in it.
Well, not vegetable. Well, it's inflammatory because they're feeding it grain.
You're not our body isn't supposed to eat that. Like, it's not a bad thing to eat some grains. If you're eating like a small portion of rice, small portions of oatmeal every once, like that's not a bad thing. That's fine. The issue is when it is in everything. If it is in everything that you eat, it is going to cause inflammation. And by the way, guess what else is on the rise? Autoimmune diseases. Where are these autoimmune diseases coming from? Seed oils. People don't realize that when you're
there's another source too.
Yeah, well, there's multiple sources. It's the fact that everything that we use, like our furniture, all of our furniture now is not made from hardwood anymore. It's made from particle board. Particle board uses, it creates a toxic gas fume called formaldehyde. If you have a bunch of furniture in your house, like let's say your table, your coffee table, your cupboards, like everything is made of particle board, you're surrounded with this toxic gas. Same thing with all of the grains. If you're eating too many grains, it's likely to cause inflammatory diseases. If you're eating too many oils, it's likely to cause inflammatory diseases. Polyester, the fact that we're surrounding ourselves with so many plastics, microplastics after 5+ years, up to 10 years, they start to break down. They don't ever leave your environment. You're breathing them in. You're washing your clothes. They're they're seeping into your pores. So obviously these plastics are also causing autoimmune diseases. What sucks is there's kind of nothing we can do about it unless you were to move to the middle of nowhere, only build from wood and like cook for yourself, basically like homestead, which is unrealistic for most people. I think homesteading like sounds great, but most people aren't really like, that's not the lifestyle they want. So it's like, there's really nothing we can do about all of these consumer products. It's about lowering the amount of things that are in our household that cause these issues.
Well, yes. And there's new sources of of bad health. But yeah, from a dietary standpoint, inflammatory is anything with omega-6, with unsaturated oils are horrible. Polyunsaturated oils are worse. Saturated fat is actually the best. Saturated fat can be harmful if it's grain-fed product, grain-fed beef. If it's grass-fed beef, grass-fed milk, what have you, then it's just as good as having a friggin' avocado or some fish, and so maybe less than mercury. But anyway, there's so many different hazards. But the point about health class is another thing is that if they teach health in high school, they're teaching the opposite of what you should know, because everything they teach you is the food pyramid and everything's completely upside down.
Wrong.
What they tell you to eat more of that's heart healthy is actually the most inflammatory crap you can possibly consume. And what they tell you not to eat is, assuming it's quality product like grass-fed beef, is the best thing for your health. But of course, the New World Order, the Satan Klaus and all these creeps are telling us that we need to eat bugs. So that's something to look forward to. But in high school, I remember a couple very valuable lessons that I did learn. One was my biology teacher. He taught that beauty is only skin deep, but that ugliness is to the bone. And then I did have a health class too, but mine I think was like junior. It's called BSR, Basic State Requirement. Oh. And they taught about,
Say BS.
BS, yeah, BSR. But there was some BS in there. But some of it was to scare you out of drunk driving, so they'd show a bunch of horrible car accidents, which is, I guess, a good lesson. And then they would teach you about nutrition and venereal diseases and things like that. So, there's some ugly-looking slides on that show. But one time I was given an assignment to present a collage that had to do with health. So back then we didn't have internet, so you clip things out of a magazine. So you could take the scissors out and you take the friggin' glue and put it on a page. So I kind of took a shortcut because that particular issue of Wee magazine had I don't know if it's a centerfold, but an outlay that had a girl in a top load freezer that was full of Sara Lee's cheesecakes. And so the caption on it was America's favorite cheesecake. And there's the girl in there that I don't want to say what she was or wasn't wearing. But anyway, this was, as a teenager, this impressed me as quite artistic. So I put that on a little construction paper background and turned that in as my health assignment. And my health teacher was a super old guy. He must have been like 80 years old. And he was... He never gave me that homework back, but I did get an A. So I was kind of encouraged by this. So when I was in French class, we were supposed to do like a call out on the human body and the various parts. Les yeux for eyes, le nez for nose, la bouche for mouth, etc. So that I had this issue of some form of young gentleman's entertainment magazine, and it had Miss World, but was not overly encumbered with garments. So I thought this is a great idea. So I put that on the construction paper background, put the call outs. I was all set to go out the door, and my mom had a sense about things. So she's all, "What's that? What are you taking with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's my homework for French." "You're not turning that in." So I wound up Madame Stangl was my French teacher. She was cool. She was like the blonde that all the boy students would be excited about. She was cool. She would have given me an A.
She would have given you an A.
But I wound up with an F on that. And then she was a little confused because she goes, "I don't understand. Your first semester you got an A minus, and this one you got a D." So...
Did you tell her your mom said you couldn't turn it in?
I don't know if that was the only thing that caused the D to happen in the second, but I may have been less focused or focused more on different things and what have you. But we were talking about organs that you need to have and that you don't need to have. And I was, before...
You need all of them.
Yeah. Well, I wound up giving up the spleen on a bike ride, and Mom again had this sense about her that she knew to tell me what not to do and what have you. So she would give me these warnings that would sometimes turn into more of
Life lesson.
Yeah, and more of a prediction kind of quality to it. So,
Don't they always know?
yeah, Mom does seem to know. So, hat tip to Mom. She's 89 now, and I'm going to see her on Saturday with Dad. And so they're, married like 56, 57, or 58 years or some odd, and they're still getting along. And
Supposedly. No kidding.
and so anyway, Mom warned me, do not. They went to Virginia, and my dad, they were looking at property there and thinking about moving over there. And I guess IBM was going to transfer them over there. So I was left alone with Grandma and my younger brother. So we were totally unsupervised. And Mom told me, do not ride your bike to school if it rains. And so I was a little bit of a belligerent kid on certain occasions, but in this particular occasion, I was attempting to honor Mom's request. So I called up my buddy, said, dude, I need a ride. Oh, he already left. So he drove off to school without me, and he was my ride. And so
You had no other choice.
So I had to get on the bike. So I'm riding super,
you could have walked, but...
super carefully. Well, no. I did walk it before, but that's like 40 some odd minute walk.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, so I'm taking the bike down this winding road, Thomas Grade, and the last road is a hairpin, kind of the finale turn. And there was a nice little sheet of water rolling across it. And if anything, I was going too slowly. And so the friggin' water took the wheels out from under the bike, and I friggin' belly flopped on the pavement.
Don't forget the stack of books on your back.
Oh, yeah, and I had a backpack full of books and calculus, all kinds of books in there. And so this belly flop, I never felt so friggin' winded in my life. So I'm kind of getting back up, and I felt like my friggin' gut turned to jello and was rolling down my legs. It was just this bizarre sensation. So then this car's coming up, and it has this young lady in it, and she offers me help. Can I give you a ride? I'm like, that would be good. So she told me to pick up my bike, put it over the fence so it doesn't get stolen or what have you. In Morgan Hill, you could still get away with that, and the bike was still there. But anyway, so I put the bike over the fence and got the ride up, went to my front door, rang the bell. My little brother answers. And I'm just like, I'm so winded that I'm just kind of like focused on the task now. So I'm like, ambulance. So then I'm like, ambulance. So my brother's kind of freaked out. Grandma comes to the door. She's freaking out. And they're trying to call call 911, right?
Yeah.
Well, we had GTE phone system in Morgan Hill. And if the lines got wet, the phones didn't really work very well. So they couldn't get through. So then they called some neighbor that's just down the hill, Mrs. Fields, and said,
What a name, Mrs. Fields.
yes, no cookies for me that day. But anyway, being a fine neighbor, she volunteered to give me a ride to the, yeah, come on in, man. So I got my ride to the hospital, but there weren't any clear external injuries. So go ahead, pull it in, man. Do what you got to do. We got a sticky door here at Club Dub. We're going to fix it.
What up?
So, yes, this is the new housemate, Andrew, and this is Destinee.
Destinee?
I've heard so much.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm good. How are you? Here, shake my hand. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Your hands are cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, it is cold.
Horrible circulation. It's a thing.
Yeah, no, trust me, I totally understand. I have carpal tunnel in both my hands, so
Sorry to hear that.
it's okay.
It's a life to live.
It's the life we live.
Hopefully, I'm not interrupting this. This is
Oh, yeah.
fine.
No,
Don't
you're
worry.
live. You're live. You're part of the show, as long as you don't mind.
amazing. What's the idea?
Yes. Oh, it's well, we're covering a number of topics, but after the next break, we can even pull up a mic for you if you like.
Maybe.
All right, sir.
I'll listen for now, though.
Yes.
Feel free, sit down or hang out. Do it.
So anyway, so I'm getting this ride to the hospital. I'm in the back seat, and this Mrs. Fields is taking the long way and running errands, like to the post office.
What?
So I'm like on the way to the hospital, and we're going to the post office.
Why? Why?
And like, because she
She's
just
like,
thinks,
hold on, dear.
Yeah,
I just
so-
gotta send this letter real quick.
yeah. So
I know
she
you
just
broke
thinks,
your spleen.
yeah. So finally, so I'm sitting in the back seat thinking to myself, I am going to die. But I don't want to lose my cool because I don't want to be remembered as that kid that wasn't cool in his final moment. So I'm just sort of sitting back there quietly. I'm going to die. Eventually, we did get to the damn Kaiser off Santa Teresa. And they get me admitted. And then some friggin' young doctor is poking into my gut. And I'm like, ow, my chest. He's like, I'm not interested in your chest right now. I'm like, so the guy's like thinks I'm a friggin' wimp, but it like was serious pain in the chest when I was poking in the gut. So finally, and then my parents are contacted, and they're in Virginia, right? And he'll be out today. It's like no problem. And finally, the real doctor comes around, and he goes, "Oh, those are called referral pains from internal bleeding." It's like, oh, that makes sense. Maybe train the other guy.
Nurse.
So yeah, that guy I'm still pissed at that dude. I gotta look him up.
All these years later, I'm still mad.
I'm not bitter. It may have been 1981, but I still remember. So then they're standing me up to take these friggin' x-rays and all this crap. And I'm like just feeling like it's just so horrible to be like standing up at this moment.
Why didn't they have you lying down?
Well, no, they need to stand you up to do the x-rays or whatever. So finally I'm passing out. And then they do the smelling salts. So it's like, whoa, and that's like even worse because like the pain is so bad you're passing out and then they give you smelling salts. Thank you. So finally they do their atlas of the friggin' human anatomy on me. All these friggin' shots, and I'm just like, when will this end? So then they're wheeling me in. They decide to admit me. He's qualified. So they're rolling me down, and the nurses are looking down at me, and I have these waves of pain kind of coming in and out, and I'm just like, whoa. And then the nurses are looking at me, go, do you know meditation? And I'm like, I guess this means no painkiller. And so I guess they couldn't give painkiller at this stage, so they had to still check things and know what they're dealing with and all that. So they get me into a room, get me into my bed and all that, and I call my buddy Cliff. Hey, dude, how you doing?
Picking me up.
I'm in the hospital. And then, so then he's talking about how he went to the movie theater to see Altered States. And I'm like, dude, I've been through Altered States. But I'm, kind of like trying to make jokes with the guy and keep things light. But every so often, the wave of pain would come. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're just like all locked up. And then it's like, okay, I can talk again. And so then ultimately, then they found out that the spleen was ruptured and lacerated liver and all that stuff. And so,
how do you even heal that?
They just tossed the spleen. So they scheduled me in for surgery to remove the spleen, splenectomy they call it. So we were talking about what organs you need.
They tossed your spleen?
Yes. But a buddy of mine, you remember Jim Ford thinks that I might have grown it back. So, because he thinks that the way I handle alcohol and that, he's thinking that I must have a spleen. Because that affects a number of things, including your immune function. But so maybe it came back. But anyway, they tossed the spleen. And when they finally wheeled me into surgery, they have you count down from 100 backwards,
Would you get to like 97?
At 97, I'm out. I'm gone.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is that you're not really out, because I could hear everything they were talking about during the surgery. Really? And I remembered when I woke up with this horrible. So I remember I'm talking about the liver and all that stuff.
What was it, like laughing gas? What did they give you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, but that gave me the worst friggin' hangover. So when you wake up from this, you feel like the worst hangover in your life.
Yeah, I know.
And then you have all this crap going up your nose, tubes up this, tubes up that, and you just want to start yanking stuff out. But somehow intuitively, that might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I'm laying there like, so. But I did remember all the stuff they talked about, and it wound up short of spleen. I learned that they had 2 other splenectomies that same night at the hospital. One girl fell off a horse, and there was a stabbing victim. So, and then... And I think they took those spleens and served them in a burger when I finally got food from the kitchen at that hospital was so friggin' horrible. So I was starving because I'm on the IV and I can't eat for a while, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching Flintstone eat like his cartoon food, and I'm friggin' salivating. Like, give me that. I mean, it was just stupid. So finally, as if to cure the appetite that has been developing for over days, they bring my first breakfast tray.
What was it?
So I looked down at it, and it looks pretty good. Scrambled eggs, Canadian bacon,
Okay.
English muffin,
Okay.
cereal,
My
juice,
favorite.
and all that. So it's like, this is good. So I take the first bite of the egg, and it was like they took the egg and like boiled it in vegetable oil, which is actually seed oil.
That's
It was
probably what they did.
horrible. And it had shells in it for a bonus.
Ah.
So I'm just like, never mind. Let's try the Canadian bacon. The Canadian bacon tastes like you took somebody's sole off their shoe and deep fried it. It was just like unbelievably, stupidly bad.
It was probably all pre-prepped food that they microwaved.
Man. So then I get then I go to the English muffin. That can't be bad, right? It's like stale and soaked with vegetable oil and
Yeah.
just like rubber. And I'm just like, "Bah, bah, bah." So then I'm like, okay, there's, the cereal, I'll have that. And that's kind of stale. So it's like, no matter what I touched on the plate, it was just like, what the hell?
What the hell? Are
And
you
it's
feeding
not
me?
like I wasn't hungry enough to it's not like I'm going to be picky at this point because I was
Yeah.
ready to eat cartoon food. So, yeah, friggin' Kaiser. But then
Tell me about it.
finally I had my brother send him out to get me some Jack in the Box.
Oh,
I'm watching
Meal of
some
Champs.
Benny Hill show and all that stuff. And what the hell else was going on? Yes. So we're going to go and take a brief break, and we will be right back in on our date with Destinee.
you have gloves?
What the fuck? Okay, oh, here we are. Okay, we're back in. What? Jesus, is this thing on? We're back in on a date with Destinee, and we have a surprise guest. I'm going to hand over my mic to the man. He's going to introduce himself, and Destinee is going to ask him a few questions, and then I'm going to go make myself a drink. Go ahead and take these headphones, sir. Here, this one goes left. You don't want to mess up your hair or anything.
Yeah, no pressure. You don't have to.
Okay.
What was I? Wait. Remind me what I was saying.
Okay. I don't know. Just ask him who he is. He has a few minutes, so just like bring him on. But you were talking about the gallstones and all that, and the
Gallstones.
Flintstones.
Flintstone vitamins.
Flintstone vitamins. And then we were talking about Breakfast Club Dub.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Breakfast Club Dub. Okay, so I used to live here. I used to be his roommate, and I moved out.
back.
Wait, what?
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. I moved out. I moved in with my boyfriend. Rent is expensive. Life is expensive.
Welcome to the Bay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell me about it. So, how'd you guys meet?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
It was some sort of internet interaction.
Internet?
right?
Like
How
Facebook or like
everything
something like
organic
that?
goes now these days.
Yeah.
There's nothing organic. It's just all online, right?
All online. Like, there's a very small chance that you could meet someone like at a coffee shop, but the likelihood nowadays is so slim.
That's what I prefer, though.
Me too.
I prefer the
I would like
super
that too.
organic interactions. I met someone maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I said hi to them. I thought they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I'm not going to get your number tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this to fate. And if we meet in the future, I'll say hi again.
I love that.
We
Did
ended
you?
up dating.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Where'd you guys meet again?
Same place.
Okay. I was like, what was it, like Bart or something? No, I'm just kidding. First time was at a coffee shop. The second time was we bumped into each other in the middle of the street. No, just kidding.
Well, I also met someone on Tinder one time.
Okay.
And we needed a cool story as to how we met.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not a cool story.
Wow.
Right. So our story that we had fabricated was that we met in a grocery store and we ended
I
up
love that.
grabbing the last bag of broccoli with each other. And in that process of fighting over it, I'm like, hey, you got nice eyes.
Wow, your eyes match the broccoli. That's so funny. Yeah. So, I mean, do you enjoy living here? How long have you been living here?
It's been a handful of months. Maybe it was before New Year's. Maybe last summer.
So,
Ooh, my timeline's kind of twisted on
yeah,
this
mine
one.
too. We used to do this like every week.
I think
And-
it's October.
October? Yeah.
Makes sense. That sounds familiar.
We used to do this every week. And when he was like, yeah, the last time we did it was July, I was like, what? What do you mean it was last July? I thought this was like 2 months ago. No. Yeah. But anyways, what do you do? What do you do for work? What do you do around here in the Bay Area? What brings you to the Bay Area?
Good question. 3 questions, 3 answers.
Yes.
So number 1, what do I do? I make New Year's resolutions happen.
Okay. I wish to wake up and drink a glass of water every morning. How do you make that happen?
You got step 1.
Okay. Fair point.
2, a couple more glasses throughout the day, and you're on the right track.
Yeah, for real.
What do? I have a excuse me. I got a little fitness studio down the road that I like to manage.
Oh,
A little spot.
okay. That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
okay. That makes more sense.
Good smiles all the time. And
Love
it's one of
that.
the only things that I have done in my life where I walk in happy and I leave happy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can't say that, so I'm proud of that.
If you're working out, like I genuinely feel, okay, I'll say this. I used to work out for like 2 hours every day. It was a little too much actually for my body. And I was the happiest I like ever been my whole life. I did yoga and then I lifted weights and then I fell off and I don't do it anymore. I've been trying to get back into it, but I am a firm believer of no matter like how depressed you are, like how unhappy you are, if you are working out, if you're exercising, it is always going to make you happier. Always. It doesn't matter like what your weight is, doesn't matter like what you just feel, it makes you feel good. Maybe not the first couple of times. Maybe the first couple of times you're like, fuck, that like really kicked my ass. But like you're working out, you're feeling good. So I like that. That's cool. What was the third question I asked you?
You said, what else do I do?
Yeah, what do you, what brings you to the Bay Area? Were you born and raised here or?
Born and raised. Had no
Okay.
choice.
Yeah, same here. Born and raised. Yeah. What were we? Okay, I know I was saying something and I like right before.
There's a third question. What else do I do?
What else do you do?
I do some cool stuff every once in a while.
Okay.
So I grew up playing sports, and I still do that, but very niche sports. You know, I grew up playing baseball, but then I transitioned into wrestling and grappling.
Oh,
And
grappling.
now
okay.
I'm a jiu-jitsu competitor.
Oh, that's so sick.
It's pretty cool.
Doesn't your son do jujitsu?
Just like that.
Wow.
Very much like that.
So-
Same thing.
I mean, have you guys like ever? No, I'm just kidding. I know. His son would probably kick your butt. No, I'm just kidding.
The idea is always there that if you meet someone else who does the same thing as you, you're
Yeah.
kind of secretly thinking like, could I kick his ass?
Yeah,
What's
I
the-
would.
In one scenario.
I mean,
kick
like,
his ass.
it doesn't necessarily have to be fighting. It could be like if you guys are doing the same thing. Like, I'm a singer. If I meet another singer, I'm always like, can I sing as good as them? But like, you never want to ask, hey, sing. Like, let's have a sing off.
Gotta
Like,
catch him off guard.
yeah, you got exactly. It's like a small silent competition.
Call them out when they have a sore throat.
Exactly. Now I know I can't. Not just kidding. Yeah. Anyways,
Excellent.
I genuinely like I had a good thing on my head, and I don't remember where I was.
Don't think about it. You'll forget it more.
Yeah, that's kind of typically how it goes.
Give it 5 minutes. It'll just pop back up randomly.
I'll be like driving home, and I'll be like, oh, that's what it was.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Anyways, well, that's cool. I'm glad that you found this place. I'm glad that you found him. He's really cool. We were doing this for several months. We got to clearly this is the 18th episode. We got to 18 episodes.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was fun. But then again, like my health just kind of like started declining, and now I'm at a point where like I'm always in pain or lethargic, like tired. So I'm gonna try and figure that out. Try and talk to my doctor, see if I can do some more tests.
That is actually step 2.
Yeah, that is step 2.
Step 1, water. Step 2,
Step 1,
professional.
actually, yeah. Step 1 is water. I feel like if I had been drinking more, so coffee is a big component of gallstones, and I have had for the past 10 years at least 1 cup of coffee every single morning.
That's not
And-
bad at all, though.
Yeah, but that's like bare minimum. Sometimes it would be like 8 cups.
For a lot of people, that's like bare minimum per hour.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I have
but
a
I-
friend who only drinks coffee.
I don't drink
We were
water.
actually getting on her the other day that she needs to drink water.
Yeah.
Or like anything else. And she's like, this is my 6th cup of coffee for today, and that's all I've had.
How old is she?
30. 30.
How is she alive?
That's a good question.
Yeah, water. That's literally that. If I drank more water, I feel like half of the health problems I have wouldn't exist.
It's a great thing, though.
Yeah. But anyways, Eric is like having fun, like recording us. What about your drink? It's like, I'm going to go get a drink.
Fantastical.
Yeah. So where are you going tonight?
I am going
Not to pry.
To cry?
No, not to pry. Sorry. Not to
I'm actually
pry.
gonna escape out of here and just let it out real quick.
He's like, I've got my weekly crying session.
Gotta get it out, back into the world, wash,
Yeah.
rinse, and repeat. Tonight, I'm actually going dancing.
Oh, cool. Wait, what? Where?
A New Year's resolution of mine was to learn how to dance. I started back probably around the same time I moved in here,
Okay.
last October. I was invited out by a good friend of mine, and I was the first one to say, like, no, that's not me. I don't do dancing. I don't do bars. And I sure as hell don't do country. It's
Oh
country
my gosh. Are you going to, what the fuck is that place called? It's Pleasanton.
Yes.
You're going,
Mavericks.
you're going to Mavericks. Okay.
Yes.
Thought so. My friend has been, well, she doesn't live in the Bay Area anymore, but she asked me to go to that like many times. Never went. So is this your first time going?
Not my first time going.
Oh, you said you've been going there since October.
So I went to Bourbon Highway
Okay.
up in Walnut Creek. It's another little yeehaw country bar.
Love that.
And once again, it's like the last scenario that I would find myself in. I don't belong here at all.
So,
The last person. But I was invited up there. Many months later, I fell in love with it.
yeah.
And it's now part of a routine because my New Year's resolution was to learn how to dance now.
That's awesome. I literally love that.
I'm objectively decent.
You don't even have to be good, or you don't have to be decent if it's something you love. If it's
the
something
best.
you have fun doing.
Exactly.
I am a terrible dancer, and catch me on the dance. Like, I don't really drink. I don't go out anymore just because it's not part of my lifestyle. But if I went out, catch me on the dance floor.
Well,
I will be dancing like a crazy white girl, and everyone can make fun of me, and I don't even care.
That's the best part is when
Yeah.
you have fun doing it. You can be chaotic and mess up just like I do all the time. Like I'm no expert. I don't teach. I'm not even close to that level. But if you can have fun and be safe out there doing the fun stuff,
And be
that's what
confident.
matters. Because there are many people that are much better than me at dancing. And I ask them to dance all the time.
Yeah.
And it's an easy tell right off the bat. Okay, you've been doing this for years on top of me. I've been doing this for a handful of months, maybe
Yeah.
5 at most. And maybe 2 of those were consistent. But if you're out there having fun and you can communicate with the person through your intentions. Like,
Yeah.
it's really easy to tell someone's intention once you have a physical touch with them. And
Yes.
This is actually something I got from wrestling and jiu-jitsu, was that once you start to interact with someone, you can easily tell what they want to happen,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a lot of people that are in control of movements, whether it be dancing or fighting or any other partner activity.
Yeah.
You can tell what they're doing and where they want to take it. Some people are really good at what they do and they use that for good. And some people are really good at what they do and they have less than perfect intentions behind it.
Yeah.
Like I've rolled with people, rolling is jujitsu. It's like
Okay.
when we're training. I've rolled with people that just want to hurt people. And you can immediately tell. Within the first 7 seconds, you can be like, okay,
This guy wants
This
to kick
is
my
going to-
ass for fun.
for fun. This is going to be not a good experience.
Yeah.
And those people get weeded out of most communities pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because the whole community is built off of not doing that to each other. You know, in a sport designed around efficiently hurting people, you'd think probably don't do it.
Yeah.
Know how to do it, but control it and don't do it especially to your teammates.
Yeah, especially to like people.
Right.
You're technically on a team with them. Yeah, you're trying to learn to like defend yourself, protect yourself, and practice or master your craft.
Right.
But like, that's not something I could get down with. I did wrestle in middle school.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was terrible because I was the smallest person, and they didn't have a single person who was the same weight as me.
It's tough.
Yeah, the closest person was 40 pounds more than me.
That's a big difference, especially if you are smaller.
Yeah, and every single time.
Matt in that contest.
Yeah, so there was 3 people that I would wrestle. 2 girls, 1 guy. The guy was in closest in weight with me because he hadn't gone like through puberty yet. So he was like, and I remember every single time he wrestled me, he was just like, "Don't worry, like we're just doing this for fun." It was so cool, like he was understanding. But then there was this one girl. Every time we wrestled, it was like, "Oh, I know I can fucking kick your ass," and I'm like 3 seconds in, it's like it's over, it's done. I'm in pain. I'm like locked up. I'm locked in, and she has got me on the floor, and I hated wrestling her.
So you know what the intention feels like.
Yeah. I don't know probably to the extent that you do because I did it in middle school a long time ago, but I do remember distinctively hating wrestling her because I knew that she had that intention, and she was honestly one of the best wrestlers on the team.
So she used it for not exactly good.
Leverage.
Good would be, let's make my other teammates better,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the end of the day. It's like if you are really good at what you do, try to spread that,
Yeah.
right? We have traveling competitors that are on our team that will go to seminars all across the nation.
Yeah.
They go learn, and then they come back and teach us. what they've learned
That's amazing.
instead of just keeping it for themselves and using it as a
Haha,
sneaky
I'm the
trap card
best.
when they're in a sticky situation.
To be fair, it was also
Right.
middle school, so like I can understand why
Nothing
a
counts.
13-year-old would like, yeah. But yeah, are we holding you up? Do you have to head out?
This is part of the night now.
Excellent. Good.
night-
This is part of the plan.
My nights just include doing cool shit all the time.
Oh,
That
man.
was some cool shit, but this is also some pretty cool shit.
Gosh, I wish that was my nights.
Excellent.
I try to do that as much as possible, and I found out it's a pretty good time. Pretty
Pretty
lifestyle.
good way to live life.
Yeah.
My life right now consists of, dude, I mean, like, what do I do? I play video games.
What do you do?
I work a lot. I mean, not more than most people.
Where do you work?
Buffalo Wild Wings. Across the yeah. Have you been there before?
Yeah,
I've probably served you.
maybe.
I've
It's a small world.
Have you sat at the bar ever?
I've never eaten food.
Oh, me either.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Step 3.
Step 3, eat food. It's good for you. But depending on the food, because we were talking about that earlier in the show,
Yes.
the food that we eat is incredibly
Eat
important.
good food.
Eat good food. But
Eat
it's hard
good
to eat good
tasting
food
food.
because all the food that we have and all the food that we have access to is not so great for us.
It's a bold claim. A lot of people don't know about that.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I would say a lot of people don't really know how to cook. And my generation, our generation, I think a lot of people eat out a lot. And sure, like there's such thing as like calorie counting. And it's like, okay, like I can eat less calories or eat a certain amount of calories and I can still stay at a weight. But it's not always about weight. Sometimes it's also about, you know, are all of my organs functioning properly? Like for me, it's my gallbladder. For some people, it's their pancreas. For some people, it's their kidney. Yada, yada, yada.
I had an organ removed last year.
What organ?
My
Kidney.
drawn a blank.
You're drawing a blank.
Drawn a blank.
You're missing an organ. You don't remember which
What's
organ you're
gone?
missing.
I forgot about it.
Kidney?
Not the kidney.
Spleen. Pancreas?
That's the one.
You had your pancreas removed?
No, I didn't.
Appendix.
Appendix.
There you go. Okay.
One of those.
Okay. If you had your pancreas removed, I would be like, how are you in good health?
I'm so confident when I said yes too.
Yeah, you were like, yeah. Oh my God.
I had it removed.
So
Not a fun time.
appendix, all of those organs are necessary for your hormone balancing. But if you had appendicitis, which is why most people have their appendix out, it's necessary to get your appendix removed because it will kill you if you don't.
I was really lucky with it too.
Yeah. And it was probably really painful, huh?
I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
I've gone through some really painful stuff in my life. Some voluntary, some involuntary. And
Yeah.
this is definitely on the top 3.
Yeah, I can only imagine. My family thought that I had like appendicitis when I was a kid, but I ended up not being appendicitis. I think I was just bloated, and I had like pain. It was honestly probably my period, and I was young, so I probably didn't know at the time that it was that. Now that I think about it, but yeah, your appendix it's necessary. Like you definitely there's a reason we have an appendix. It's in control of some of your hormone balancing, but getting that one removed sometimes is necessary. That is the only, out of all the knowledge I have, that is the only organ that I could say that you could remove that's like not detrimental to your like health for lifelong.
Well, if it was 1,000 years ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or probably longer than that. From what I know about it, from the brief history lesson that the doctors told me before ripping me open,
Yeah.
was that
Oh.
it was used to digest bones when we ate bones. And typically we don't do that these days.
No.
Not as much, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's some foods that it helps digest, and it's also it's a part of the endocrine system. So again, you're getting some nutrients in. It's helping you digest some of those nutrients and send it out into your body. But again,
But I'm still alive.
you're still alive. Like
That's
your
what
doctor
counts.
said, you're probably not eating those kinds of foods
Not too
often
many
enough
foods in
for
the diet
it
these
to
days.
matter.
It was an interesting little scenario how it happened. Everything from my first discovery of it to when they actually wanted to remove it from my body. So
Yeah,
it
how
started,
did that go?
It was a 3-day process.
That's it? He was like, yeah, I thought it was going to be like a long, drawn out. No. It was only 3 days. Okay.
3 days. So
Wow.
I was going on a hike with a girl I was dating at the time, and she gave me an apple. And I ate the apple. And about a couple hours later, I started getting this really bad pain. I'm like, oh my God, I have food poisoning. This sucks.
From the apple.
And she also fed me some creme brulee before that. So I'm like, oh, she's out to get me.
It was over before it even began.
It's like the second date, too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is going fantastic. So I thought I had food poisoning. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and get out the system real quick. Ended up throwing up. I'm like, okay, cool. We're done. That's it.
You weren't
I
done.
threw up a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time within a 24-hour period. I was like, oh, this is not good. And the pain started to move down my body into the lower abdominal region.
Yeah.
And that's a telltale sign.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about that.
Any kind of moving pain. I mean, not like moving as in like, but like downward. That's a sign.
Telltale sign of appendicitis. Did not know that at the time. But what happened is I walked around for 24, probably almost 48 hours with a burst appendix, thinking it was food poisoning. I ended up grocery shopping. I ended up going about my day.
Were you not in pain?
I was excruciating pain. But I was like, it's not going to stop my day. It's just food poisoning, right? It's just going to pass.
You didn't consider, wow, I'm in pain. Maybe I should go to the doctor. You just thought, I'm going to go grocery
Very
shopping.
stubborn.
Okay, I can see that.
So ended up going to the doctor, and they were giving me some pretty entry level tests, and they're like, okay, we've concluded what it could be. You either have food poisoning or you need surgery.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, there's nothing in between to narrow that down. Like, I'm sure you guys got something here to narrow that down. Like, this is, I don't know, a hospital, right? And they're like, our techs aren't here today. I'm like, fantastic. So who are you? She's like, oh, I'm just like an entry level nurse. I'm like, oh, thanks. Really
That's
appreciate it.
really helpful. Wait, were you in the ER?
I was at Kaiser at the time.
But like, did you just walk in, or
I
did
just
you
walked in. I made an appointment. I was like, hey, I need to get checked out. I'm in pain. And they're like, okay, cool. We got like 5 o'clock today. Come on in.
Okay.
Fantastic. Perfect. So I walked in and they did their tests. Some silly tests too. Like I was just like standing on one leg for a minute too while they poked me. I'm like, okay, they're doctors. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to question this.
I would have been like, is this standing where, like, is this necessary?
It was something silly.
Yeah.
I felt really silly doing it. And I'm like, okay, well, what are my options here? They're like, well, you can either wait 2 days until the ER tech is back so we can scan you. I'm like, I don't think I have 2 days. It doesn't feel like I have 2 days left. Like, this is getting more serious now.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you can go to the ER. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess I could just walk into the ER. So I go over to Stanford, and I'm like, hey, guys, I'm hurting a lot.
Oh, you must have been at the urgent care.
Might have been.
Okay. I know, like right down the street from here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were at urgent care.
So I walked in there. I'm like, hey, guys, can you guys do your cool tests on me? And they're like, okay. They asked me like the same amount of questions. And they're like looking at each other like, we need to get this guy in the hospital. Like, this guy's about to die. I'm like, I can hear you still. They're like, okay, we need to do some tests real quick. We're going to collect some samples. We're going to throw you in the scanner. Within 30 minutes of me getting there, they come back. They rip the curtains open as I'm just laying there in those loosely fit hospital gowns, still confused and in pain. They're like, your surgery is in 20 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Do you need to call anyone? I'm like, whoa. First off, I appreciate the urgency. Those other guys did not have this.
And this is why we fucking hate Kaiser. Sorry for cussing, but like, oh my God.
Second off, more details, please. What happened? They're like, oh, your appendix burst. You're about to go septic. So we're going to cut you open, clean you out, and put you back together.
Oh my God.
Do you need to call anyone? I'm like, yeah, probably. So I text my cousin. I'm like, hey, cuz, I'm about to die.
I'm gonna die.
Can you tell the rest of the family for me real quick? Don't worry, I'm in a good place. They're gonna fix me. She calls me up. She's like, what?
I mean, anyone would.
She called me up. She was super stoned. So she's in Florida. So at this time, she's about going to bed.
She's high as
And she's super high. And she's like, what?
oh my God.
Sophie, I'm about to die. My appendix just burst. Can you tell the rest of the family? It was like a pause.
That I love them.
I love them.
It was like a drawn out pause too. She's like, okay. Like, wow, what a burden on you. Okay, my bad. Like, let me just do
Oh
it
my
myself.
gosh.
You killed the buzz, man.
Yeah.
You're a buzzkill.
Sorry about
Such
that.
a buzzkill.
Get you
I
back
feel
to
like
anime real
if
quick.
my cousin called me and said that, I would probably be like, what?
What do you want me to do?
like that's it? That's all you want me to do? Like you're gonna die? Like
Should we FaceTime at least?
I know. Like can I at least hug you like on the phone, through the phone?
So in the next 20 or so minutes, as I'm waiting to get surgery, I have like 15 calls and text messages saying, "Why are you dying? What's happening? Why is your cousin Stone telling me that you're dying?"
She's like, I can't understand a thing she's saying, but it said something about you're
having a
dying. Are
bad
you
trip.
okay?
Like, whatever she got, I want some of that. and
Man.
I'm just like, I just keep telling everyone, like, oh yeah, I'm getting surgery, my appendix burst, and they're like, why didn't you give us a heads up? I'm like,
Because I just got
you
here.
don't plan to have your appendix burst, or so heads up on these things,
Yeah.
guys. And first off, I'm just letting you know, I'm about to get surgery.
In 5 minutes.
Please don't make me the bad guy. Like, I'm trying to like not hyperventilate. I don't know what to expect in the next 10 minutes.
I understand. How did they knock you out? Through IV or through laughing gas?
They did both. So at first they went an IV, and the first round was like a super warm fuzzy feeling. I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. More of this, please. And they're like, more. I'm like, yeah, more.
Oh,
And then
gosh.
they gave me a little more. I was like, okay, guys, like I do drugs. I need more of this stuff. No, that's what they asked you. Like, hey, do you smoke or do any recreational drugs? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty often. And they're like, oh, turn it up. He's used to this stuff. And
That's funny.
so I started getting this warm fuzzy feeling, and on the way, when they were transporting me through the hospital to the surgery room, they're like, all right, this one's gonna feel cold. I'm like, ooh, sweet. Can I try everything today? You know, I guess I have like a round of concoctions. I just do different things to your body, right? So the first one was kind of like a nice little warm fuzzy feeling. The second one was like icy cold. I'm like, I don't like this one. First one, please.
Oh my gosh.
And I can still talk to them. And when I have anything in my body, whether I'm drinking or smoking, I get super social with everybody. So I'm looking at the doctors. I'm like, hey, man, where'd you go to school? I just ask him all these silly questions like, hey, I like your shoes, dude. Where'd you get them? He's like, bro, you're about to get surgery. I'm like, I know. Like, Nordstrom, like, where'd you go?
just in case I live through this. I'm gonna get those.
Like, I want to get those fresh kicks you got. And then when we get to the table, they're like, hey, can you move over? I'm like, I can like roll. I'm like, start to like, I'm just super
Can you
funny
move
state.
over?
I'm like, I
Can
can
you
roll,
move?
watch this guy. They're like, no, don't do that. And then, so they slid me over and they put me on the table and they're like, hey, and they asked me the same question again. Like, hey, do you do anything? I'm like, yeah, I do. And once again, they're like, give them the good stuff.
Give them the good stuff.
And that's when they got the
Got a
gas.
connoisseur here.
That's when they got the gas on me.
Yeah.
And
That's the shit that I need. Put that on me first before you do the other stuff.
And I remember they ask you they always ask you like, hey, okay, start to count down.
Yeah.
And then once again, it's like you make it to 3 or 4, and then you're like, you don't remember anything. But I woke up during my surgery. I woke up. I have a vivid memory of me just seeing the table, like not the table, the ceiling, and just like this big white light,
Yep.
and then knocking back out. It was a really weird thing. I didn't feel anything. I just have that one visual image.
Like you opened your eyes and you're like, okay.
I think it was like kind of like a kind of a squint.
Oh gosh, what a terrifying image too. The last surgery that I had done, that was done last January, February, March, April, May. I was awake for the whole thing, and it's literally the only thing I'm looking at is like the bright light.
What happened?
Don't go into the light.
Do not go into. I have an IUD, which is birth control, and I should talk into the mic. I have an IUD, which is birth control, and it turns out that it got like perforated into my cervix. So I had to have like an emergency. What is it called when they like cut out some of your cervix? Hysterectomy?
No, not a history.
Well,
That's like the final deal where they take out
no,
everything.
it's like a partial because they cut at it.
Yeah.
So it's like
Practice round.
yeah, it's not they don't cut the whole thing out. Like it's like a shortened version of that. Like they don't take the whole thing out,
Yeah.
but they like cut
Scraping.
around the IUD. Yes. The faces you are making right now, that was the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life. I don't know why I didn't go under. I didn't go under because my doctor was like, it's dangerous. Every time you go under. And I was like, all right, I'm 90 pounds and I'm 27. And I feel like the amount of drugs needed to like drug my body is probably less than most adults. And I don't want to fuck around with that. I feel like, you know what? As much as I trust the doctors, I'll take the pain. But yeah, those lights.
Yes.
It's like, it feels almost, I mean, like, honestly, you probably were just awake for like a split
It might
second.
have been the end of my surgery too.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how far into
It could have been the beginning.
it could. Yeah, I could have like just gotten a little glimpse, and I remembered it in a weird fashion,
Yeah.
which I was hyped up on 3 different compounds. So who knows?
Who knows? You'll never know.
But what I do know is that I woke up swinging.
Swinging?
So I have a
Like,
fighting them.
oh my gosh.
I'm apparently prone to punching doctors after surgery. So I actually have a horrible streak.
Oh, a streak.
I have surgery on average every 2 years
Why?
because I keep getting injured.
What have you done?
Combat sports.
That's probably what I'm wondering, like, what it was that
Fighting
caused.
with doctors.
I do.
I wonder what it was
That is
that-
the combat sport. I fight doctors.
Like, but that doesn't make sense. Your appendix bursting has to be like something different
That's actually the only thing I haven't
cause.
had surgery for from a non-combat sport
Not that you
that
you
you-
know of.
that I know of.
Yeah.
Who knows? So yeah, it could have been something like that too.
Yeah.
But they told me like I woke up just throwing lefts and rights.
Maybe when you're in that dream state, you're just like, yes, jiu-jitsu. Yes, I'm punching. I'm fighting. I'm so happy. And like you're in such a good like high state because like you're happy when
Yeah.
you work out and when you do those things, that when you're knocked out like that, you're just like in a good mood.
Yeah.
So
It's
maybe
funny
that's
because
why.
like my main discipline is grappling.
Yeah.
So I don't punch and kick as much as I grapple. So like for me,
Could have grabbed the dog.
my default go-to is to grab and hold on to. That is easy muscle memory for me versus punching and kicking. Punching and kicking is fun. Muay Thai, MMA, boxing, great stuff. Love it. But grappling is my default. So after that, they had me in the hospital for 3 days. I lost maybe 20 pounds
Wow.
because I couldn't eat anything. Now, given I was not moving for that period of time, but I didn't eat at all either.
They can't, like, not even like liquids.
My organ system, everything was
Oh
shut
my
down.
gosh.
So I couldn't even, like, the idea of food hurt. Trying to
Trust
put
me, I
water
feel you
down.
right now.
So I had only an IV, right? And it
So you
was
don't tell me.
it was tough. But I met some cute nurses, got to know their routine, and had some nice chats here and there.
Nice. I love it.
Plenty of that warm fuzzy drug from the beginning. And they were like, "Hey, look, we got an unlimited supply for your surgery off this one. So whenever you want it, just press this button."
Damn.
I'm like, "No kidding! Like this one right here in my hand."
You're like, really? You're giving that to me?
I'm like, let me just try this out. Oh, yeah, it's nice. Turns out it was morphine. Fantastic stuff. Great stuff.
I have had morphine once when they thought it was appendicitis. I didn't like it because I didn't feel anything.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't like it, because I thought I was going to feel something and I didn't feel anything. Like, I didn't feel any pains. I didn't feel anything. And so I was like,
Well, then
this
it
is
worked.
lame.
They gave me the crappy version when I was taking a ride up to Walnut Creek, flatbedded, after like a little a motorcycle, tipping incident.
What they give you?
They go, "Oh, you want some morphine?" I'm like, "I never tried that." So it's like, okay, I'll try it. But they gave me the cheap stuff, so I just felt it made me feel super nauseous and like a horrible migraine. I'm like, yeah. So I got robbed.
So I might have to cut this a little
Oh yeah.
short.
So we're gonna take a quick
Take
break.
a break real quick, yeah.
We're taking a break, and then we're gonna round things down in just a moment on a date
Thank you
with
for having me.
Destiny.
My stomach is in a lot of pain right now.
Well- Okay. All right. And we're back in on a date with Destiny. This is a 18th episode. It's with great sadness that we call out that this could be kind of a grand finale sort of episode, because Destiny is going through kind of, there's different life situations that are coming up. Perhaps we'll be able to talk about doing something on a less frequent basis, but this might be effectively wrapping up this season. of A Date with Destiny. And we also want to thank Mr. Andrew for joining us on this show. It was kind of like a surprise visit, which I think worked out quite well, and it keeps the theme of health care experiences of various sorts.
That was a fun story. I loved hearing every second of that. I feel like if I was in the same shoes as him, I would have not been able to handle it the same. I would have been like, what?
Come out swinging.
Yeah. That was a good story. That was fun.
Choked out a few nurses.
Choked out a few nurses. Whether they enjoyed it or not, we will never know. Just
so,
kidding.
yes. So anyway, Destiny, it's my hope that you will try to set time aside for some of the music stuff, because you are an extreme vocal talent.
Thank you. I still haven't done any of that.
Yeah, that's something you got to make time for. And if there's some way I can play a role in helping to encourage that.
Yeah. If it's not just my own, if me and my boyfriend both were in good health, I know we would be doing all of these things. I think and what's weird is like, because his health has been a little bit on the decline as well. And it's really unfortunate that it's like at the same time as mine. It's just lethargic. You know, I'm lethargic and I'm in pain. So sometimes I don't really want to work on things when I know I should. But I do have an interest in it. I know that someday I'll be able to accomplish some music stuff. Because, you know, I'm passionate about music. I love singing. I love piano. I love music in general. Someday we'll get something done.
Yes, plus you got to get a tour of Japan figured out at some point, too.
Exactly.
The spiritual motherland. And, yes. Oh, my goodness. So
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Yes. So anyway, there are a couple things we could catch up on politics, but I'm thinking that given the somber nature of like kind of the show, that might be the last episode for a while, for the foreseeable future, that we would kind of focus in on Destinee and her struggle to get what we hope to become back to kind of normal and good health. And you're much too young to be going through this kind of nonsense, for God's sake.
For real. Don't worry. I'll talk to my doctor. We'll get everything figured out. I'll start eating healthier. I have started eating healthier. It'll be all figured out eventually.
Okay.
And I'm not getting my gallbladder removed. So no worries there.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I think another thing I wanted to mention is I know that we've mentioned before that my possible run for Congress on this show. That's still not off the table. So I'm not 100% certain. I don't know if I'll be in good health. I don't know if it'll be good timing. But when the time comes around, of course, I'll reach out to you. I'll let you know. And, you know, this would be something I'd be interested in doing again if the
Yes.
circumstances provided.
It would be fantastic to have some proper representation taken to the... Hey, thank you again, Mr. Andrew. You're a fantastic gentleman. And we will get that door fixed. We get a little sticky door here at Club Dub, so there's no way to break into this place because the security door doesn't even open when it's unlocked.
It wouldn't be Club Dub without the sticky doors.
Yes. So that... There's a... Yes, so yes, we learn a lot. We got to live, learn, and carry on.
Live, laugh, love, everybody.
Yes, don't love everybody, but
No, wait, don't love everybody.
yes.
You know what I meant.
That's the wrong message.
Live, laugh, love, comma.
Everybody. There we go. And thank you again for joining us on this 18th episode and kind of at least for now, a grand finale of sort episode of A Date with Destinee. Okay, let's call an ambulance.
Okay. Just kidding.